Welcome to another episode of Full Circle Ouroboros with me, Onyx, and we are talking about psychic and magical protection. How to get my tea. So, this subject is pretty vast, and while I was putting in my contacts and coming back to video, I was like, well, maybe we should talk about demonic attacks and spirit world attacks instead of the original plan. And I was like, do the same principles apply? And the answer is yes. And first off, selenite is amazing clearing crystal, and a little science behind how clearing crystals, which would be crystals that have clearing effects on your energy, they are crystals that have long fibers running through them. So if you examine something like black tourmaline, we notice there's long fibers. Let me grab one. Here's an example. You see those long fibers? That basically acts like a conductor and can move that energy through your aura and out. So it offers an exit point for unwanted and foreign energy to gather, collect, and move on out. On one dimension, that would be like the hard physical Newtonian science behind it. So it's like grabbing some cables, and plugging them into the earth. So, do you need a crystal? And I would say it's been my experience that yes. um, Even though you may do a lot of your mental gymnastics in your mind, or you might be very moved by your emotions to generate and push things, it's good to have some physical objects for grounding and focusing into the present moment. And they have, obviously, they exist in this type of reality along with you. So they work very well to assist you in your intentions and to aid you in your work. So it's been my experience that yes. So I carry a crystal on me and a stone, and it might change according to what I want to bring in or remind myself of. So usually when I'm working with my citrine and gold stones of a yellow color, it's simply for the psychological reminder of being happy and choosing to be on the positive spectrum. When I'm working with like black and white and clear crystals, it's usually of connecting to source, connecting to spirit. This is the terminology that, is kind of like an agreed upon language to disseminate the information, but obviously it translates the but obviously it's a multi-level conversation we're having. And so kind of moving on, which is the focus of magical, like it's about protection from a non-physical threat that could be someone hating on you. That takes thought takes form, and energy is one of the purest forms of thought. So it depends upon the, like, emotions is energy in motion. So I would say a lot of low level magic is shooting that energy out at someone. Like, oh, I don't like my coworker. So it's very responsive to a perceived threat. So, there's so much ground to cover in psychic protection. So, like, if we like fast forward, obviously mindfulness, becoming conscious is also becoming masterful in the magical and psychic arts. The more conscious you are, the more it illuminates the hidden, the unknown, that so there's reactive sensitivity, you reacting to your environment, you reacting to the energies. And then there's being sensitive as you're a fine-tuned instrument able to feel those frequencies, pick up that energy, read it. And so there's been a lot of abuse with psychic, magical, spiritual arts. And even without the knowledge, just a lot of unconsciousness, which is abuse. Unconsciousness is the evil in the world. When we allow ourselves to go unconscious and be unconscious by not validating what we felt, we're like, my intuition was telling me not to go to that party or not to go ask for forgiveness from this person because they're not ready, they're not in a healthy mind space, you know, and so we drop our boundaries. So the ultimate psychic protection is awareness / consciousness. Hence, we evolve, we ascend our awareness and consciousness to the spiritual realms. You want to have access to something divine. And that doesn't have to be like a religious figure. It doesn't have to be a thought form made into a being. Like, it could be a high ideal. Like, it could be your personal goal in life, your mission, your vision. But it could also be more abstract, like a clear mind, like a diamond mind of Buddha, just clarity. That's, in a weird way, it's abstract because who is really demonstrating clarity of mind? Who's really living their purpose? People talk, but are they demonstrating it in thought, word, and deed all day long? So the art of magic is the same art as manifestation creation, but it's really the art of understanding karma. What you sow, you reap. Life is a boomerang. Life is a mirror. And so you become very more conscious of shutting your thoughts down. Oh, here comes judgment towards my coworker. Thank you for sharing judgmental part of my mind. Instead of broadcasting that out, let's just dissolve it and shut it down at the source. You are the source. It's really hard to understand that you're the source of your conflict. There's no victim here. We put ourselves in victimizing situations because we're not respecting ourselves, our mind, our body, our spirit. We're not regarding ourselves in high regard, and we're not going through the ritualistic act of speaking with authority, commanding a better vocabulary to get that respect, holding yourself in those positions, not allowing yourself to take lower jobs. Because you respect yourself enough. Like, a big eye-opener for me was why am I taking low-level retail jobs when the reality is, compared to a certain lot of people, I am a spiritual master. I have a gift to share of wisdom and arcane knowledge that I've studied for 30 years. You know, my background is in occult, mastery, knowledge, psychic abilities, astral projection. That's what I do with my life, you know? I'm an explorer and a scientist of the occult. And how do I offer that to my people is kind of wisdom, kind of understanding and awareness with a little magical empowerment. So when someone mistakes me for whatever, I've put myself in that position. If I'm not willing to take that disrespect, then I need to move out of that position and create a career sharing my gifts of consciousness, of wisdom, of awareness, of presence, and even my personality, you know? And so it's a long process to become a master of your hobbies, a master of your interests, and take it to the next level to like wizarding creator, you know, to have something of worth to offer people that has a value to it that enriches life. That's the energetic level we're talking about here. So obviously this is kind of into psychic protection, but so we learned, wait a minute, I am disrespecting myself, my own body. I'm allowing other people who don't know me well to enter my body, either physically through um, harmful touch, harmful maybe sexual relationships. You shouldn't be kissing and hugging people who don't love and respect you. You shouldn't even be shaking their hands. Yet we allow people to brush up against us on accident, like nudges and pushes. And so sometimes energies that are discordant with you interact with you. You shouldn't really be in the presence of people that don't hold you in loving high regard. If they can't see your worth, if they can't see your light, if they just don't value your existence, why are they in your aura? Why are they in your sight? You know, put on that royal crown. And so, because we're living in a crowded space and the environment that we've collectively created through disregarding other people has led to a situation of a lot of toxic skirmishes, a lot of toxic interactions, where if the truth be told, you would not be around someone who offends your spiritual senses, who offends your intellectual senses, and they wouldn't want to be around you either. So we could do both of ourselves a favor and not be in the same tribe. So not knowing your level of awareness, your level of energetic power, puts you in compromising positions. And so when you hold yourself in high regard, that is a level of protection. It announces to the world through your human demonstrations who you are, what you're about. And then they have a choice to step out of the way or then become an enemy, an obstacle, a malefic force. All forces and life forms in the universe are neutral. If they go against your purpose, then they become adversarial. So there is no agreement on what beauty is. There is no agreement on what evil is. If it goes against your personal value, and your values are also part of the direction you're going, then it becomes offensive. Then it becomes adversarial. Then it becomes malignant, malefic, and evil. And so there is a whole range of negative energies that we just described, and you're interacting with them all the time. And we have a tendency to just think, oh, that's bad or that's chaotic, because it offends our senses, because we're not used to that foreign energy. So another thing is, at the level of wizardry, wizards look at everything as forces. So it's not so much my coworker is feeling and thinking this way and they're taking these actions. The wizard is like, these forces don't align with these forces. If I manipulate these objects, if I say these things, I'm always just manipulating and working with forces, which then alters the energy, which then alters outcomes. So that's kind of the way a wizard, in a weird way, is a little bit more, I would say, scientific or pragmatic in thought. But you can also be just as effective with altering. You could be doing it in some other way to create these desired outcomes. So, witchcraft is a style of manipulating the energies and the forces. Wizarding is a style. Professionalism is a style. Science is a style. Technology is a style to manipulate forces, objects, people, things, numbers, letters, symbols, vibrations of voice, aka gesticulations, movements, patterns, to get an outcome, which would be to have an experience of the experience that you wish. So it can be, and that should, it can be very an objective, it could be very a non-subjective experience. You're breaking down of a subjective experience. It feels very subjective to be assaulted by psychological forces, energetic and emotional manipulations from a distance, from someone else, from objects, from spirits, from all sorts of things, to be tortured in sleep, to be invaded in dreams, to be disembodied on different dimensions and thrown into other portals, not being able to get fully put back together, to have pieces of your soul taken away and coveted by other people, to have powers which are still fragments of your essence coveted and taken away. It would be disempowerment. These are some of the things that happen in the magical universe. So the reality, and I would call it just mainstream average white person thinking, is we tend to think of magic as more thoughts, and we're a little detached. Like religion, we all think it's like, come on, where's your invisible God? You mean I have to die to actually see God and occur his wrath? You mean all these natural forces in nature is God's fault by this invisible hand? So what it's taught us is to not take serious invisible forces, other beings and entities. And the only thing that we can possibly come close to is aliens. Somehow, with technology pulling the strings of our lives in a matrix. And that could be true as well. But in the end, it's still just forces. And so your level of believability could actually be stopping you from breaking the curse. Your level of disbelief, just because you like close your eyes and say it's not happening to me, just because you live a lifestyle of atheist denial doesn't change the objective facts. Your life sucks. Your health is depleted. Something is missing. You don't have purpose in life because a piece of your soul is missing because it was coveted by your ex-boyfriend. Like, so so shamans kind of feel the role is encompassing wizard when really you should have that connection. Your magic needs to be alive and a part of you and part of your expression to and you're so a lot of people we we want to like just like Harry Potter. They go to school, they study from books and teachers, then they have to say words and wave a tool to work magic in that universe. And in a weird way, the essence of magic is, I wouldn't say disassociated, but it's not connected to them directly. Like it is and isn't. Like you just don't wake up floating, but in the reality of it, you do. In our reality of magic, anything is possible. And you are directly connected to that anything is possible. You are connected to it all, the web of life. So, one reason why all this is happening is because you're not connected to the web, the power source, and you haven't spent enough time working with it to then understand how to put it all together. You might be working into a tradition. You might be reading a whole bunch of books. And on one level, there is just so much disconnect, but you don't realize it. We're like so disconnected from our bodies. We're disconnected from the earth. We're disconnected from our past lives, our future lives. We're disconnected from energy, from the life force, from consciousness, that God's a theory now. You know, gravity is just a theory. The earth is round is a theory. It's now, you could sit and theorize about it, form mathematical equations to prove it, but you don't actually go out and touch it. And so you have to be able to touch it, to feel it with your five senses. So, and once again, it's like religion and spirituality have turned things upside down from, I think, a Western mindset. Like, like even to experience Zen and no mind, people are like thinking about nothing. Or there's lots of philosophies and great things to read, and the formal ritual, put on your kimono, sit in zazen, have it quiet in a manicured rock garden, and now you're having the Zen experience. And the reality is no. The essence of Zen, you can physically feel the no thing. You can physically feel the emptiness of mind. You can physically feel mind versus thinking brain. So you can feel, we tend to feel it as energy. And that is really, and then it's like our nervous system is designed to feel energy. And energy is the other face of consciousness, levels of awareness. And so being able to physically feel and be connected to your body is your tool. And so really that's pretty advanced lesson on living magic. I would call it real magic, true magic, for magic and psychic protection. It's a very engaged experience. So even if the body is still or you're lying flat, there are levels of engagement that you're interacting with thought, you're interacting with mind, you're interacting with energy, you're interacting with your tools. There's a lot of movement in the stillness of whatever it is that you're doing, like creating a psychic shield around you. So we're nearing the 30-minute mark, is where we wrap it up. And it's like, so we kind of had to gain more breadth of understanding to now understand your physical home needs to be grounded and sanctuary and all yours. There should be a space in your home that doesn't have any of the gifts that other people have given you. So it's like when you purify your space, having things that only belong to you, when you really clean out maybe your room. I just live in a room. Like I just rent a room in a house. So my room is my sanctuary. And I keep all gifts from friends, family, and loved ones outside my room. And when I did that, my life changed. It was so, I could feel my own energy. There was no separation between me and my aura, my mind, my stuff, my things, my life. And then when I organized it, it created order, which then created healthy boundaries. And it vibrates at my frequency. So a lot of things that are going on, leaving you exposed, is having interfering forces fucking with your energy through objects that have belonged to other people. So you have to cleanse things. So purity and boundaries is the essence of magic for psychic protection. But it's also this clarity. So you clarify your room to vibrate at your frequency and up a notch to the frequency that you're ascending to, baby steps. And then, so that was your room. What about your body? Your body is also a sanctuary. It may be decorated with a few things that enhance the sanctuary. So I carry a crystal in my pocket. I feel that energy increase my mental energy, which clarifies my aura and keeps bullshit away. It keeps me like the diamond mind. It keeps me with a clear mind. So, and then what the content in your head? What type of music you listen to? What type of media is going in there? What type of conversations are you engaged in? If that's just dumping shit into you, remove it, because that's going to weaken you for psychic and magical battle time. So it's like, it's better to have nothing in your head than to have garbage. An empty canvas is better. So, and then you have to think about the energies. So diet and food and things that we absorb through touch can contaminate or make dirty, unclear uh, the temple of your energetic being. Your aura is more you than your physical body. Your aura doesn't really dissipate. Your physical body is what dissipates and dies. You as an energy body continue on in some form or another. It's energy. You move on. It's up to you to be the janitor. My God, be the janitor of your house, your body, your mind, your emotions. So, in a weird way, psychic protection is a full time job. That janitor needs to get in there and clean every week, create a routine and a ritual, and you're pretty good. So, it's like when you're feeling disoriented, go janitor, go organize, go be a maid to yourself. Clean your room, clean your body, organize. This it's like a reset. So when you fall apart, you have a dark night of the soul. You fall apart, you have to, you're at ground zero. Okay, time to restart. Start cleaning, start organizing, and go from there. Build the first step and take your second step. So that's actually pretty good. Hmm. The last thing is you need to be connected eventually to a higher power, and you need to have access through that. You need to have awesome access. And I would say that be connected to the web of life in some way, in some form. It could be a power animal, it could be a deity. Uh, and best, and you need to feel it. You need to have a deep relationship with it. So, core principles of being a badass when it comes to magic is you have a living relationship with the powers or the web of life, which would still be the powers, the gods. Your helping spirit, your familiar spirit is still part of the powers. You need to have that. That is your energy bank. That's your lifeline. That's what makes everything work. So it connects you to the supernatural. And it's going to be a lifetime. So it's like, do you really have time to have fights with people that you know and don't know very well that are all judging you? No. Do you really have time to get your ego so worked up that you need to prove that you're the greatest? Probably not. I think it would be a lot better just focus on being connected to the powers and let the power. So it's like, why isn't there any great magic out there? How come the Book of Shadows isn't for everyone? It's like, because once you hit a certain level, you realize, well, you have so much power, you don't know if you want to share that. You don't want to give children a loaded gun, which is basically magic, because most people destroy themselves